Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be across this beautiful blue-green globe of ours. Welcome to Real News Live. It is a Toxically Masculine Tuesday. I'm your host, Mike Bara, in Las Vegas, Nevada. Joined as I frequently am, always am, whenever I'm on here. We're glad to have you back. Dr. Brooks Agnew is the first among us. Brooks, how you doing? I know you had an issue. You had to go to the hospital. You missed a show, and then I was on the road.
Checked myself into the hospital because I was carrying so much water. So they dried me out and got a couple other issues, but we'll get them straightened out.
Yeah.
No step for a stepper.
Okay, so you're feeling good. You're ready to roll. You're happy to be here, right? Okay, good evening, everyone. Deborah Pollard. Yep. How you doing? All right. Also joined, of course, tonight by the other members of the cast, including the man from Nashville, TV's Blake Wally. I got to hang around with you. What was it? 3 weeks ago now, Blake? I don't know. 2 weeks ago? It's a long time ago, it seems like, in Nashville, Tennessee, the owner of the Lickety Split. I got a personalized tour of the Lickety Split, the nicest strip club in Nashville, from TV's Blake Wally. And let me tell you, it was an impressive place and an even more impressive set of employees, I have to say. Blake, how you doing tonight?
Yeah, I did a great job hiring all those people. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Gave you the royal tour. Yeah, business is booming. It's great to be here.
Yeah, no, it was good. Nashville, if you don't know, is a really fun place. That they got this downtown area. What is it? Broadway and 4th is about where we were. Just seems like about 100 nightclubs and bars and karaoke bars, and you can just go pub crawl, no cover charge on anything. It was a blast. Highly recommended unless you have a bad back. And of course, the final member of the team, but not last in our hearts, just last on the list tonight, Steve Doran, the trail boss, and somewhere in nowhere Fuckville, Arkansas. Steve Doran, how you doing tonight? How you feeling? And have you shot anything lately?
I have not shot anything lately. Prior to starting the show, I did threaten to shoot Blake Wally for 2 reasons. One is he's 3 weeks behind on a haircut. We don't tolerate that on this program. People need to, keep their, grooming standards top of the line. You can't be doing that. And then secondly, I noticed that the cheerleaders on the opening, their shirts don't say trail boss. So I want that corrected by next week.
All right. I will have Blake fix that. That is Blake's responsibility. But do not change the music, Blake. We don't need an update on the music. We like our music. So we're going to keep that. Okay. So before we get started, a couple things. My friend Susan Gretz is in the hospital. She had back surgery this afternoon a few hours ago. She's in a lot of pain. Send her some thoughts, some prayers, some well wishes. Also, as Lee Harris has done, don't forget to super chat or Rumble Rant if you're on the Rumble side of the house. We want to keep the doors open on this show, but it's got to pay for itself because the software for StreamYard is not as cheap as it used to be. So we want to keep that covered. So thank you guys for being here. Appreciate that very, very much. All right. So we had a very interesting week this week. Who had peace in the Middle East on their bingo card for this week? Steve, did you have peace in the Middle East?
No. There's no peace as far as I can see.
Well, okay. We'll get into the details of that. But as of now, there is a ceasefire agreement and hostages have been returned. So let's take a look.
They killed all the female hostages.
All right. All right. Let's just wait for the commentary part, Stephen. Let's take a look at some of the scenes today of the hostages being returned.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. אמן.
That's a happy Jewish guy.
יש לך שתי ידיים, שתי רגליים.
All right, so we had that, and then we had President Trump, Anthony Blinken, also known as Krennic from Star Wars, from the Empire, tried to claim that the Biden administration had crafted this peace deal. Here's what President Trump had to say about that.
And they were in places that you don't want to know about. Deep. some of the top Biden administration folks who were there, like Antony Blinken, seem to want some credit for the peace deal. Blinken says it's good that President Trump adopted and built on the plan that the Biden administration developed. What do you think about that?
Everybody knows that's a joke. Look, they did such a bad job. This should have never happened. This wouldn't have even happened. That was weak leadership, terrible. And the same thing with Russia, Ukraine. If just a decent president, not a great president like me, not a great president. If a decent president was in, you wouldn't have had the Russia-Ukraine. And this is, I would say, even more so. This was bad policy by Biden and by Obama. Remember when Bibi came and he begged that you not do what they were doing with Iran? You remember that, right? Begged them. And they wouldn't even listen to him. Everything they did was the opposite of what you should have done. And it's nice that they try and take a little credit. That was years ago, and the mistakes were made years ago, and it was both by Biden and Obama.
And so what did you do so differently? Because I know a lot of it was behind the scenes. So what did you do so much differently than Joe Biden to end the war?
I resonated with the Arab leaders, the Muslim leaders, and the Jewish leaders. For whatever reason, you tell me why. You know, he said that in my first news conference, I answered more questions of him than Biden did in 4 years. And I think that's pretty close to being true.
No, there were no Pinocchios in the fact check.
That's right. That's right.
Okay, so that is President Trump's response to the rather ludicrous claim, absolutely, completely ludicrous claim, that this thing was brokered by the Biden administration. Laura, thank you very much. $20. No BS. Best no BS show on YouTube. Yeah, Biden is absolute shit. So, all right. So, Steve, since you seem to have opinions about this, you know, I'm happy that this agreement has been reached. I'm happy that it looks as though there may be a framework for a lasting peace, or at least a peace until the Arabs break their word again. Personally, I don't have any sympathy for the Zionists, and I have even less sympathy for the Muslims. I think I wish they would have just nuked Gaza off the face of the earth, but that's just me. And, you know, I'm an Aquarian, so is Adolf Hitler. So, Steve, tell us what you think about this agreement, and does it make you happy to see the hostages, few of them that are left, coming home?
Well, I'm happy that the few who are left are coming home, but they killed all the female hostages because they didn't want them to talk about all the atrocities that were committed against them. The other thing is, as soon as the Israelis withdrew from Gaza, Hamas came in, took over, killed all of their political enemies, and started terrorizing people to get them back underneath their thumb. So, yeah, maybe the ceasefire between the Israelis and Hamas has stopped, but Hamas is killing and torturing and all kinds of other atrocities toward the civilians. To me, that is not a ceasefire.
Well, it's not a ceasefire. It's not a peace agreement either. But Brooks, you know, it seems to me like you saw these hundreds of thousands of people returning to Gaza. Doesn't that imply that they felt like the situation was a little safer than it was previously under Hamas, or have I got that screwed up in my head?
No, you probably are right, but you know, this is the way the rumor mills work. These people are very poorly informed. Most of them are illiterate. They don't read. So they just move en masse when the time is right. I did see videos of people returning to their homes and beginning to clean up from the rubble. All, of course, windows are blown out. Dust is everywhere. It'll take them a while to clean up. Most of the buildings are destroyed or structurally so damaged they have to be bulldozed down. It is a travesty what happened. But this is what was originally set up. It was inevitable when Yasser Arafat took over the region known as Palestine, and he coined the word Palestinian. It didn't exist at all until Yasser Arafat invented it. And his only term of peace ever, the entire time he was alive, was Israel must be removed from the earth. And Hamas, it can be argued, was created to come in and divide the power away from Arafat. And it got away from him. It just got away from him. And two and a half generations of hatred bred into those people and taught into those people who were already illiterate, already struggling with an ideology. It just destroyed them. Just destroyed them.
Yeah, hopefully Yasser Arafat is in the hell where people are skinned alive, as they said from Big Trouble in Little China. Blake, there is a meme out there. It's a Lego set, and it's just a bunch of gray Lego bricks piled up, and it says Gaza on it. There's nothing left. You know, people say, oh, Trump pushed this war so he could go in and do real estate development. But as Steve points out, it seems like the security situation there is not really the kind of thing you want to go invest in, or you get investors to go there. What do you get about this deal? What's your impression of it? And do you think it's going to lead to any kind of lasting peace in the Middle East, or is this just another temporary deal that's going to evaporate in a month or two, like some of the Ukrainian stuff has?
Yeah, I think I would agree with that. It's probably not going to last long. So yeah, it seems like it's a big deal, and hopefully it does. But I've seen this region for a long time. It's gone before I was born, and it'll continue. I wish we could just pull out of all of it. I don't have any love for Hamas or radical Islam, and I'm pretty skeptical of our allies, the Zionists, and the Likud party specifically, which is like the neocons on steroids. I don't think they want this conflict to go away either. I think they ultimately have greater goals in that area, and if they can drag U.S. into any of its foreign conflicts, they will. So hopefully Trump has put them aside, and we can be done with this for now, because this has been going on too much. And yeah, it's a big wasteland. I don't know how they're going to rebuild that, and I don't know if they're going to let people bring in equipment, because they always say, oh, they're just going to use that to build rockets or whatever, their infrastructure. So yeah, there's nothing to come back to. It's destroyed, and I don't know if they can have a two-state solution there. So there's still a lot to work out.
Yeah, Brooks points out correctly, there's no such place as Palestine. There's no such thing as a Palestinian. It's a fake invented term. That's like me calling myself a Summerlinian because I live in Summerlin, which is nothing more than a suburb of Las Vegas, Nevada. I live in Las Vegas. It doesn't make any sense. When are we going to just talk straight up truth about this place? This is the Hebrews' land. It's ridiculous. The Temple Mount, which is a Jewish temple, the Arabs built this fucking mosque on top of it, which I think we should just blow off the face of the earth. And Israelis, it's in Israeli territory, and Israelis in Jerusalem have to get special permission to to be on top of the Temple Mount, and they're not allowed to pray on their own holy site. I mean, to me, this is insanity, and I think the only way you get peace is if you move the Muslims out of there. That's the only way, and you create a real Jewish state, not a Zionist military state called Israel. You can call it Israel, but it's got to be a different state than it is now. Brooks, what do you think about it?
Well, you're hitting the nail right on the head, Mike. This is the thing. So they go in and they sweep up Gaza, and they build this little canal they want to build to connect it to the Med. They turn it into the Singapore of the Middle East. It's gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
Who owns it? I guarantee you, they will not let the gypsies own a piece of it. They didn't put anything in it. They don't have any money. They're not going to give them ownership of it. There will never be two states. There will be one state, and they might be allowed to rent an apartment there if they can get a job.
Okay. So anybody else have any thoughts? Like, Steve, if you were running the show, if you were king of the world, not just simply Steve Doran Trail Boss, if you were boss of the world, what would you do to fix things in the Middle East to stop the fighting and the killing?
I would take what is now called the Palestinians, the Jordanian hillbillies, and I would send them back to Jordan, and I'd say they're your problem.
Wow.
They're your people. They're your problem. You take care of them. Then I would shut that whole Gaza Strip down. It would just be used as a place for the military to patrol in case there's any kind of unrest. But the reality is, because of all the pressure, worldwide pressure against Israel, They have to placate to the Muslims. That's never going to cease because you're always going to have two sides to every argument, one pro-Israel, one pro-Palestinian, or pro-Arab. Not Palestinian, there's no such thing. But anyway, it's never going to end. Eventually, what's going to happen is the Arabs are going to become more aggressive, and the Israelis will respond with a nuclear weapon, and hopefully take care of most of the problem at that particular point in time.
Well,
wow,
he's pretty right. I mean, look at the wall. Look at the wall between Palestine and Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're expecting the zombie apocalypse.
Yeah.
Nobody is getting through that wall. Nobody wants Palestinians in their country.
Well, they're not Palestinians. They're Jordanians. They're Jordanians.
Yeah,
they're Egyptians. They're Syrians. They're all from all over the place. They're not, they're just random Arabs that nobody else wanted. So, and if these Arab countries really did want them, they would just carve out a little land for them.
Well, they would have taken them years and years and years ago. Nobody wants them. Jordan, especially, they tried to assassinate the king of Jordan. That's what got him kicked out in the first place.
Yeah.
And so nobody trusts them. They're violent. They're untrustworthy. They're dishonorable people, and just probably that far above being mentally retarded. They're terrible people.
What they say, 67% of them are inbred. They've married a first cousin or closer. Yep. 67%.
And hence the mental retardation. So
okay, so let me.
You're dealing with the people that you can't deal with.
Yep.
You can't do it. You try to give them a job, even if they were to build the thing. Try to give them a job, they're not able to cope with it or handle it. They would end up destroying all the facilities. Any money that goes into the Gaza Strip, you may as well flush it down the toilet or burn it, because there's no good is going to come from it. None.
Okay, so do you anybody think that speculatively behind the scenes that the deal that Trump is talking about is a deal where the Arab governments are finally going to take some responsibility for these random violent terrorists and clean this up? I mean, that's what he seems to be implying. At least that's my gut impression, Blake, that's what Trump is talking about. Do you have any optimism that that's really the case? I mean, when Trump talks about peace in the Middle East, I mean, he's made such a big deal about this politically that if it falls apart, which it usually does in the Middle East, it always does, he's going to look pretty bad. Everybody's going to be ripping on him in 6 months or a year. So do you think there's any possibility that he's really got these other Arab countries, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, Lebanon, Egypt, to agree to handle these people and stop the violence? Or do you think I'm just like Pollyanna, just wishing for something that ain't going to happen?
I really don't see how any of this is going to happen. So I don't, and some of the deal for them, it doesn't seem to make any sense. I mean, I don't necessarily like the people, but I mean, I don't know if they're supposed to like disarm themselves completely and just be second-class citizens forever to Israel. And I don't know about all of the history there. We could argue that maybe they have more Semitic blood than some of the people in Israel who are Ashkenazi, who don't really have any ties to the Hebrews. It's all a big mess. I don't really want to support either one of these countries. I mean, if Israel wants to exist, I think they should be able to support themselves. I'm America first. If we're going to kick all the Arabs, are we going to fund this? Do we have to have a part in this? I don't like the special relationship that we have with them. I don't really consider them an ally. I would probably agree with Steve Bannon saying they're a protectorate, but it's just a bad situation. If we could pull some of those people out, if they can't take care of themselves, I would say invite them back into the United States or wherever they want to go, because they are a more westernized culture. But outside of that, I don't want to protect them. Yeah,
I would interpret what you're saying is you're okay with a Hebrew state on that land, but not a Jewish state necessarily, because again, what is a Jew is a very complex thing, and the Ashkenazis and the Khazarians, they've been involved in a lot of nefarious shit. And it does appear it's more and more exposure all the time, every week. We're not going to get into it in the show. but more and more Congress people are compromised by Israel. And, the dislike of Israel is pretty intense. So, I mean, would you say it's okay? Would you support a Hebrew state rather than a Jewish state there?
Yeah, I would like to see if they could actually, get along. For all the criticisms we have for, Assad, or even from some people in Iran, you still have all of the major religions of people of all those religions getting along. But then when you destabilize the region, you take out Assad and they start targeting Christians, that's not good either.
Biden overthrew Assad, who actually treated Christians really well. Steve, before we get out of this particular question, do you think that the United States needs to only deal in the Middle East with countries that protect Christian populations? And should we now? Trump has talked about building a Jesus statue on the White House lawn. Do you think maybe we should become a more Christian nation if we're going to survive into the future? Do you think that has to happen?
Oh, I totally believe that. I believe that the destruction of our country has come about through not only the feminization of our school districts, our elected officials, but also in the church. And it has actually destroyed the moral fiber of this country. And I think that we need to get back to a biblical-based society. And I don't mean religious. So, I'm not talking about any particular religion. I'm talking about a return to Christ, not a return to, phony baloney, false religions, and what else is out there today. Entertainment centers is what I call them, because they don't preach the Bible anymore. They just want to make you come in, feel good, get emotional, and leave. And that's not what it's meant to be. And in fact, the church is the people, not some building that you go to somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This brings up kind of an interesting thing. Well, I'm not going to bring it up. I'll go to something else. All right. One other thing that happened that I thought was pretty interesting is that Trump, of course, should have won the Nobel Peace Prize. Instead, they gave it to somebody who actually was worthy of it, which is, I don't know if you would call it a Peace Prize recipient, but it was a Argentinian woman who has been fighting, Venezuelan woman who is fighting to, get rid of, Maduro in Venezuela. Mm-hmm. and fight for freedom, which is like, wow, they actually gave it to somebody who's actually fighting for some democracy and fighting for some fairness. But she said basically she dedicated it to Donald Trump, said it should have gone to Donald Trump. But believe it or not, the American media, Time, actually called him kind of like, he's a leading candidate for Man of the Year. His triumph, of course, they used a terrible picture of him, which is not very flattering at all. But doesn't this make you suspicious, Brooks? If the mainstream media is praising Donald Trump for this at all, I mean, I know he absolutely deserves praise for putting this deal together. Let's hope it holds. But does it make you suspicious that they're praising him?
Yeah, it does make me suspicious. It's all a trap. It was kind of funny that the, quote, Nobel Peace Prize winner, this woman in Venezuela, dedicated the award to Trump, said Trump's the one that deserves to have it. But you have to understand, this woman is a CIA plant. She's put in there to oppose Maduro, and she's trying to raise an opposition. So I don't trust the whole thing. That whole situation in Venezuela is going to erupt in violence. It has to, sooner or later. The Russians signed an agreement a week ago yesterday, which allows them to send weapons into Venezuela that can strike the U.S. They're making good on a promise that they said they were going to do if we sent weapons into Ukraine, which we did. Now we're threatening to send cruise missiles into Ukraine. That's a big red line. No one's going to be given the codes for the cruise missiles. We have the cruise missiles, the Tomahawks. And if we put the Tomahawks in Ukraine, Russia's going to put weapons in Venezuela and Cuba, by the way, 90 miles off the coast. This is a situation that is escalating by the day.
Yeah, and also I think Javier Milei today nominated Trump for the 2026 Nobel Peace Prize. So maybe he'll get it.
It's meaningless. Since they gave it to Obama, it doesn't mean anything. Trump should create the Trump Peace Prize, and he should put a $10 million price tag on it, make it solid gold, and let it mean something.
Yeah, make it out of gold. That'd be good. I'd go for that. Blake or Steve, any thoughts on, is the media trying to set Donald Trump up for some sort of big fall by putting him on the cover of Time magazine? Makes me suspicious. Blake, any thoughts?
Yeah, might as well. I mean, yeah, that cover was so awful. You figure they're going to come after him in some way. So yeah, I'm sure they've got something planned behind the scenes. There always is. I don't think they're ever going to turn around unless Trump completely sells out his populist base for the globalist deep state.
Yeah.
Can't see them being on the same side.
Yeah, Steve, any thoughts on this or any speculation, guesses?
Well, he's been playing ball with them since he took office. We still don't have any arrests of any elected officials. We still don't have any of these people who stole trillions of dollars from the American people. We don't have their names. They haven't been identified. So, yeah, he's been playing ball with the other side. So maybe they're going to reward him for that.
All right. Well, okay. Another thing happened this week, which was that J.D. Vance was on an ABC News interview with George Stephanopoulos, a little itty-bitty midget little pipsqueak from ABC News, Clinton operative, who tried to trap him, tried to set him up, to basically asked him an "Are you still beating your wife?" question involving some ridiculous story that Tom Homan took bribes for $50,000. And in the middle of Vance's answer, Stephanopoulos cut him off. And then Donald Trump had a response. Let's watch the video and kind of absorb this whole thing.
Thank you for your time this morning.
No, George, I said that I don't.
Up next, we'll be right back.
Brian, first of all, congratulations.
I don't take questions from ABC Fake News. After what you did with Stephanopoulos to the Vice President of the United States, I don't take questions from ABC Fake News. Brian, go ahead.
Yes, sir. First of all, congratulations on achieving peace. You are indeed the peacemaker. On a lighter...
Did you ever think I was going to be called a peacemaker?
Actually, I did. I saw some of the actions you were...
Go ahead.
But on a lighter note, Alyssa Farah, she is one of the hosts on ABC's show The View. She said a while back, I'll quote, "If Trump gets the Israeli hostages out, I promise I will wear a MAGA hat for one day on this show and say thank you for doing it." Your response.
Thank you for your time this morning.
Okay, well, hopefully that's the case. Trump had a fairly strong response to this stuff, but Steve, isn't it time that he just revokes ABC News's license and just revokes their White House credentials? They're not a serious news organization, are they?
No, they're not, but they're a news organization. And when you start doing that, then the next administration that comes in that we may not be very favorable of, not that we're real favorable of this one at this point, because he's not doing what he said he was going to do. But when you start doing things like that, then it gives them, the other side, fair game to do the same thing to people who are asking legitimate questions.
Oh, they already did.
What?
They already did. They already canceled all of us. I just now got my YouTube channel back.
Yeah, I wonder if I did.
After almost 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
Well, all I'm saying is that I don't like to see anything canceled. You know, you have a right to free speech. You can say what you want. There are consequences to saying what you want. But, you know, under the Constitution, you're allowed to say whatever you want, whether I agree with you or not. I fought for that so people had that right. And I would fight for it again today. But the reality is, like I said, doesn't matter what you say. There are consequences to it, but you should still be allowed to say it.
Okay, Ron, I want to address this question. If you look at old maps, the land of Israel occupies now was called Palestine. No, it wasn't. It was those were maps created by the British. Those maps are not very old. They're from like the 1930s. The Romans invented the term Palestine because they wanted to erase the Hebrew people from the land that they had held since 6500 BC. It's always been Israel. It's always been a Hebrew land. It's never been Palestine. Palestine is a Roman fiction if you go back to the maps that are even older than that, it's not Palestine. So
it's Judah.
It's Judah or Samaria and Judea. Those are the names of the places. So again, those are Jewish names. And yeah, God bless the Marines and the Mariners, Terry. So just going to correct that. I don't remember what the question was. Let's go on to something else that happened today, which is that Erica Kirk, the widow of Charlie Kirk, and yeah, I'm pretty convinced at this point, yes, that he's gone, was brought into the White House today. President Trump actually rushed back from the Middle East Peace Summit to be there on time to award a posthumous, unfortunately, Presidential Medal of Freedom for Charlie Kirk with his wife, Erica, there. Let's take a look at him signing that in the Oval Office with Erica Kirk.
How beautiful is that music? Remember Charlie down on the patio? He could sit there all night long listening to this music. How beautiful is that music?
So, guys, that's basically what happened. What do you let's start with you, Blake. What do you make of this? I mean, is it okay? I'm sure it's okay for the president to do this, but do you think this does anything to heal the rift or change things between us and them?
Not quite sure if I'm following. Are you talking about the Charlie Kirk?
I mean, does this do anything to keep a civil war from breaking out, basically, or is this an aggressive, in-your-face move that wasn't necessary to do right now on his birthday? I mean, that's, I guess. How do you see this as a political thing or simply a personal thing for the president?
I mean, I guess it is his birthday and everything, so I guess timing wise, I just got to live with that. So I don't know if that was a controversial thing. So maybe I missed some of the context for it. I'd heard about it, but I hadn't seen it. So I don't know if there's people saying that he doesn't deserve the recognition, or maybe I'm missing what it is.
Okay, yeah, well, of course, yeah. Of course there are. Brooks, what did you think about the president doing?
Well, I think it's personal, and I do think it's political. But the Medal of Freedom has been thrown around by other presidents, given to people who who don't deserve it. Barack Obama gave it away. Bill Clinton gave it away. Biden, who even the fuck knows what Biden did? I don't even think he knows. But this was meaningful. In fact, it was the first Medal of Freedom to be engraved with a Christian cross on the back of it.
Mm-hmm.
Very significant stuff. Charlie Kirk, and I'll say it again, was the best of us. He wasn't the only one. There are a couple thousand of us out here that do what he does. But he went right into the lion's den day after day after day. And this is where the left was spending all their money. They were creating another generation of woke judges and woke CEOs. And Charlie Kirk went right into the middle of them and registered Republicans. And it scared the hell out of him. And I praise Charlie Kirk for doing that and for not giving up.
Steve, how do you feel about this particular award? And do you have any change in your opinion as to the death of Charlie Kirk since the last time we were together a couple of weeks ago?
No. I believe he was murdered. I believe he was murdered by a professional hit team that rehearsed it, that knew exactly what they were going to do when they were going to do it, and get the actors out of the state before they were discovered. And, of course, the kid they're holding is a patsy. But as far as him receiving the medal, I really don't have a feeling one way or the other. I think Charlie was a great guy. I think he really, I'll use an old term, but he was mighty in the Lord, that he used him to be able to sway people back from evil, and at least get them to consider Christ. At the same time, I think a lot of the things that have been done, I mean, he would even, if he was here today, he'd probably say the same thing, that he is not Jesus Christ. He's not even close. And that, our focus needs to be not on him so much as the person who created him. So, like I said, some of the stuff is just done in bad taste, but I don't see this as being done in bad taste at all.
Yeah. Okay. In other news, our government is shut down right now, or at least it's mostly shut down. Has anybody noticed?
No.
Not me. I haven't noticed anything. Yeah. I mean, President Trump did a thing today where he said, hey, look, I'm going to take some money from other sources that were dedicated to other things like hopefully USAID and other corrupted things, and pay these soldiers with that since they weren't going to get paid in the shutdown. That, of course, made liberals' heads explode. And we also had some other fun stuff happen this week with sombreros and Hakeem Jeffries. But the funny thing is that all of this stuff is actually, believe it or not, it's completely backfiring on the Democrats. The Democrats are used to being able to manipulate the news media and say things like, oh, it's the Trump shutdown, and then the voters blame the president or blame the Republican in the White House. None of that has happened this particular time. And let's just run through it here. Let's just a little bit of this. So then Hakeem Jeffries complained that Trump and a sombrero on him. So Trump then did this, bitching about it. Here's a clip of him bitching about it on MSN.
Bigotry will get you nowhere. We are fighting to protect the health care of the American people in the face of an unprecedented Republican assault. Bigotry will get.
Okay, so I thought that was great. Doesn't this? I mean, it's funny to us, but doesn't this, Blake? Doesn't this actually? I mean, to me, this diffuses the Democrats. It just makes them look silly and foolish because. Basically what he's saying is you're on the side of the illegal aliens, and he's doing it in a funny, meme-ish way. And I think it's very effective, don't you?
Oh, it's extremely effective, and it bothers them tremendously, which is why they want to keep doing it. It deserves to be mocked, and they're having a trouble with it because they want them to be taken seriously, and they want to look, in front of the American people, and they want this to believe their narrative and that everything's, Trump's fault. But it's not. And so they haven't been able to, meme correctly in years. They don't understand the concept. They're lost. They're leaderless, rudderless. And they're just, they're easy pickings. And it's great. The meme culture is hurting them. And I'm surprised they're not, calling. I think they're trying to, call for, banning. If they had their way, they would shut down Twitter.
Your solution is to ban memes and put people in jail for them, right, Brooks?
Right.
All this could be put to an end so easy. People need to realize, and we need to bring this up on our program, that in 2026, you can actually vote Hakeem Jeffries out of Congress. And you could vote Schumer out of the Senate. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to sue them. You don't have to arrest them. You don't have to just vote them out of office. And it's over with.
Yeah. Well, that would be nice. I hear AOC is going to run for Schumer's seat. That would be fun. And by the way, happy birthday, AOC. Send nudes. Steve.
Yes.
Steve, do you think this is I think this is effective. And it looks like overwhelmingly people are blaming the Democrats for the shutdown. Here's the other thing. Democrats are trying to say, millions of people are going to lose their health care and your health care costs are going to go up. They're going to double or they're going to triple. Well, the reason they're going to double or triple is because Obamacare, your bill, is a catastrophic failure. If we repealed it now, everybody's health care costs would probably drop by 50%. And furthermore, they don't say millions of Americans are going to lose their health care. They say millions of people. And I think everybody's wise to this now, and they've got it figured out. What do you think?
I think so, too. They realize that, that the American people have been footing the bill for not only illegal people in this country, but people around the world for the most ridiculous programs you ever heard of in your life. And we're sick of it. We want our money back. If you're listening, Donald Trump, we want your stupid Pam Bondi to start arresting these people that Doge supposedly uncovered. We want to see these elected officials who have been stealing from us for all these years. We want to see them prosecuted in jail. All this other stuff you're doing, fine and dandy. The meat of the whole entire reason that you were elected was to take care of these criminals. And we want to see them taken care of. We want to see them put under the freaking prison, and we want it done immediately.
Yeah, Kathy says I pay about $650 a month for medical. I don't even go into the doctor because I don't trust any of them. I have the insurance just in case. I had private health insurance before Obamacare came along as well, Kathy. It covered me for everything in any state for like $400 a month, and it's crazy how much of a disaster it's gotten since then. People always fearmonger about losing Social Security and Medicare when it's them losing their laundering pathways. Exactly. That's why this is so important. And Deb says maybe the shutdown will keep the chemtrailers on the ground. I haven't seen much of that. Awesome. Have you, Brooks?
Clear skies here in North Carolina.
Amazing. Isn't it fascinating that the skies are clear? All right. So let's get out of this issue. In net positive or negative, let's just go. Who wins the government shutdown? Does Trump win or do the Democrats win? TV's Blake Wally. What do you think?
I would assume that the Republicans win on this one, especially if Democrats are being exposed as trying to, give benefits to illegal aliens. That's not going to work out well for them. It's a lost issue. So I guess they just might as well hold out. It doesn't seem to be affecting too many people, but I hate to see, the military deserves to get paid. So,
yeah, absolutely. Steve, are you frozen, Steve? No. He's moving. All right. Who do you think wins this issue? Seems to me like Trump is crushing them on this
one. I think it's going to be ultimately the Republicans will win. There's no way that they can turn around and allow the things that the Democrats wanted in that bill to move forward and for the American people to pay for it after all the trouble we've had in recent years. It's all that stuff's got to go away. So I can't believe that the Republicans would vote for those types of additions to the bill.
Yeah, I mean, there's a rumor now that in the Senate they have 55 votes for the continuing resolution that Trump supported. Is that right, Brooks?
Yes, that's right. All they need are 5 Democrats, and I think ideologically they have them. They have the 5 Democrats, but to actually get them to vote, that's going to be something else. I think that Trump's getting the airtime. He's taking the bully pulpit and making sure, and I think Speaker Johnson's doing an excellent job of making, every time he's interviewed, of going back on the interviewer and saying, no, it is illegal health care that's being given to illegals.
Yeah, I think
it is sex change operations. It is all these things. People are trying to say, no, that's illegal. Yeah, it might be illegal, but here's the thing. They're going to launder $1.4 trillion through California and New York so Democrats have money to run their elections.
Yep, to steal the elections. Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is, I think that this is a great opportunity for Trump, and he hasn't really taken it yet, to just send all these people home and say, by the way, never come back. Bye-bye. Why hasn't he really done that, Brooks? Why do you think that he hasn't?
I think it is happening. He's basically decimated the Department of Education, and he's going to go after more. I don't think it's going to be sweeping all at once because people will panic. The Department of Labor realizes that the real employment number is probably going to get out there pretty soon. We talked about it a lot last week. It's pretty scary. It's pretty scary. 67% of young men under the age of 34 don't have a full-time job.
Yeah,
that's pretty crazy. They're working part-time jobs. They're working a couple of part-time jobs, but it's this whole temp gig industry is being manipulated to make it look like unemployment's low. I don't think it's low. I think it's somewhere around 7%.
Well, and that's fine with me if 90% of those 7% are government employees who no longer have jobs and are never coming back. That's fine with me. I don't care if it's 25%, if it's all government employees, because guess what? We're going to discover in 5 years we didn't need any of that government stuff. We don't need any of you people, and now you have to go out and do something productive. So that, I mean, you look at Brooks, you look at these jobs, these people are talking about, like what the Doge has found. these people aren't doing a thing. They're not doing anything to contribute to the economy or to the planet, for that matter. So
every job is $100,000 too. So
Yeah.
if you're talking about dumping 10,000 jobs times $100,000, it's a lot of money. It adds up so fast. People don't realize this, but 23.1% of our entire national budget is federal employees.
Yeah.
It's federal employees. You cut that out, we balance the budget just like that.
Pretty quick. All right. One last thing. Speaking of Speaker Johnson, you brought him up. And of course, every time they talk about, Johnson goes up to talk about the government shutdown, which is an issue that the Republicans are winning on. The press tries to steer the questions in a different direction. This is going to make Steve Doran really mad. This is the direction it went yesterday with Speaker Johnson, or it might have even been earlier today. Yeah, earlier today. Let's listen to Speaker Johnson talk and answer some questions on C-SPAN.
Let's talk about Grijalva and Epstein. Okay. Once more for everybody. Everybody in Congress, I think, is for maximum transparency of the Epstein files. That is underway right now. Let me point out before I go forward further, all of the files were in the possession of the Biden-Harris Department of Justice for 4 years. Every single thing that we're talking about right now was in their sole possession. They could have released it. They could have done anything. Ro Khanna, all the Democrats who are jumping up and down making noise about this, didn't say a peep about it for 4 years. I don't know why, but this is another partisan manufactured thing. Is it a serious problem? Yes. I've sat with the victims, some of the ladies who bravely have come forward and talked about the horrors that they sustained because of traffickers on Epstein Island and all the things he was involved in. Everybody involved in that should have the full weight of justice descend upon their head. And we're all for that. We want every single person who had anything to do with that to be exposed. But there's as many as 1,000 victims estimated. That's what the victims say. There may be 1,000 women who were made to suffer these unspeakable harms because of this. Many of them were underage at the time. They have not all chosen to come forward like some of these other brave women have for obvious reasons. And we have to make sure that when the files are released, their names are redacted so they don't suffer further harm. We have a duty and a responsibility. You can't just wave a wand and just, open the floodgates. You have to make sure that the victims don't suffer additional harms. That's all we've said. Let's make sure it's done the right way. The that's underway, by the way. The House Oversight Committee asked the Democrats and Republicans on that committee who are working on that vigorously. As I said, some of the biggest, bulldogs in Congress are on that committee, and they're all joined together in a bipartisan fashion, digging through and releasing documents. 34,000 documents so far, and more on the way. In fact, as I noted a couple of days ago, the attorneys for the House Oversight Committee during the shutdown are still doing work. They were in New York City combing through the Epstein estate files. By the way, that was never even mentioned or anticipated in the discharge petition, for those of you who are following all the details of this. So more is coming out. We're for all of it coming out as soon as possible. The only thing we want to make sure of is that the innocent victims are protected, and I think we have a responsibility to do that. No. Let's talk.
Okay, Steve. Do you buy any of that, buddy?
Nope. Sure don't. I mean, if they're just redacting names, how long does that take? You put 20 or 30 feds on it, and you're talking, he said, like 1,000. In several hours, you can redact every victim name in there.
Mm-hmm.
And then release it, if that's all you're looking to do. And as you're going through, I mean, even they've got AI programs that can go through and identify and highlight victims' names. So it's just another stall tactic. And then hopefully the general public forgets about it. I mean, that's pretty much what they seem to be doing. Just like Katie Hobbs is running for the governorship of Arizona again. Mm-hmm. And what happened to the feds were investigating her for stealing all kinds of money from the people of Arizona? That just went away. And now she's like the star child to win the next election as governor.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, she didn't win the last time. She's not going to win this time. The only way she wins.
Well, you say that. You say that,
but voter fraud, but they didn't do anything. They haven't done a fucking thing about voter fraud either. Where's the prosecution?
That's what I'm trying to tell you. Don't be surprised if she's not the next governor.
Yep.
Don't be surprised.
Blake, do you have any optimism we're ever going to get anything on the Epstein files for real?
No, not really. Unless Trump is playing this game where he's baiting them into releasing them, pitting the deep state against the Democrats. That would be ideal. I hope that's the case. But it's weird seeing the Republicans vote this down. Clearly, it's a lot of people that are on that, or they know people that are, and they're going to try to protect those people as long as they can, even though they are, helping criminals that did horrible, unspeakable things on the pleasure island. So, yeah, it's bad, and it's again more us against them, and they haven't done anything about it so far. We still don't know what happened to JFK, MLK, or RFK.
Yeah,
still waiting on answers for so many other things, and I don't see that.
I know what happened to JFK. I know what happened to JFK. Read my book, Ancient Aliens and JFK. You'll find it. Okay, Brooks, any thoughts about this particular issue at all, or should we just move on to the one last thing, which is, does Antifa really exist?
Well, there's some pretty big blood in there that had their way with a 9-year-old in a hot tub on Epstein's Island. Now, they're trying to make it out to be no big deal, but this was a honeypot that was set up to get these people on film for a specific reason, to manipulate their power as they vote or not vote or legislate on different subjects. Mm-hmm. It worked. It worked. That's what it was designed to do, and that's what it did. So there's some big blood in this, and these guys don't want their names out there. The most powerful men in the world. So I'm with Steve. I'm with Blake. I don't think anything is going to come of it because they're too powerful.
Men and women, by the way.
Yeah, men and women.
All right, one last issue. President Trump did do something I did like. He did basically declare Antifa a domestic terrorist organization. Not a whole lot has been done with that yet. But the liberals, of course, with their complete political tin ear, have responded to that by claiming there is no such thing as Antifa. The leader on this, of course, was the Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison, who says, there is no such thing as Antifa. And here is Keith Ellison's own tweet where he showed himself holding the Antifa handbook. I mean, could these guys get... I just found the book that strikes fear into the heart of Donald Trump. Yeah, whatever. Could these guys get any more clown show-ish guys? I mean, or what are any thoughts about this at all, folks?
Like, it's amazing how they think they can just gaslight the public with.
Oh, yeah, there we go. Blake,
over the top. Yeah. Did I freeze? So,
I mean, the thing is, though, Steve, since we're not getting anywhere when we're in power, does it really matter? Should we even bother to try to win elections anymore? Or is it just time to, clean our muskets and keep our powder dry?
I think it's time to keep your powder dry, but that's goes without saying, and it's been going on for the last number of years. Working for the federal government or working as a contractor of the federal government, whatever you want to call it, both sides are extremely corrupt. You can go in the morning, you're a national hero. By afternoon, that same person who called you a national hero is now considering you the scum of the earth, saying you should be in prison for all the, laws that you violated in doing your job. So I don't have faith in any politician, any elected official. There's nobody that I would feel comfortable going to if I was in trouble and needed their assistance. Not one of them.
Brooks, have elections become pointless at this point? And are we headed towards civil war? What do you think?
Well, look, we're a nation that's founded on revolution. It's how we got founded. And every 2 years, we have another revolution. And we've been solving that problem at the ballot box instead of Main Street with the pitchfork and a torch. But when we lose faith or confidence in our election infrastructure, it doesn't mean that our desire for revolution goes away. It means that it shifts gears into another realm. So Antifa is a professional organization That is to say, they're paid to do what they're doing. And they're there to disrupt and to disrupt the normal order of things, the normal flow of a community. They do exist. They are spending tons of money. They're moving materials and assets around in these different cities. And Trump's doing the right thing in mobilizing the National Guard and going after them. That's not civil war. What is civil war is when Brandon and Pritzker start making rules to nullify the federal action. That's civil war. That's serious stuff there. That's South Carolina 1860 stuff.
Okay, one last thing. Anybody have any predictions for the coming week? Blake, we haven't done predictions in a while. What do you think about what might be coming up? You hear anything interesting?
I mean, I'm interested in watching what's going on with the silver market. Certainly a lot of financial problems. Looks like they could be on the horizon from that. We're off the petrodollar, and there's a lot of with gold and silver going up, and the cryptos are manipulated. There's a lot of funky stuff there. I don't know how they're going to do with keeping the dollar up.
Yeah,
not doing the Fort Knox thing hasn't been done yet, so. I don't know. As it seems like silver, they're trying to prevent it from going past that 51 mark or $52 an ounce, and they're doing everything they can to kind of short the market. But at some point, they're going to have to do delivery, and they're not going to have it could send silver to 100. Not financial advice, but there could be a massive shortage out there. So I don't know when that's going to break, but you could see some major banks fold. If they have to, if they hold them to account.
If people ask for their physical silver, there's a whole bunch of banks that are going to.
Oh hell yeah!
Yeah.
So guess what? Go ask for your physical silver. Let's get it in there. I would also like to point out that Jennifer Falah, my co-host on the show tomorrow morning, said that by the end of the year, when she was asked back in February, at the end of the year, she said silver is going to be $60, and it's right tracking for that. And I think it was like less than $20 at that time. So, wow. Steve, any predictions for the next week before we
predict? See, this is an easy prediction because I'm going to always be 100% correct. I predict that there will be trouble in the Middle East.
Oh, there you go.
Next week.
That's tough. BrooksAgnew.com. Any predictions for the coming week?
I think the Panthers are going to beat the Jets on the 19th.
I agree.
They've been doing a good job.
They did. Yeah.
Everybody's healthy. Everybody's fast. Go Panthers. Crypto, I don't know. The issue is the exchanges. Coinbase and these other exchanges are having big problems.
Mm-hmm.
They're not allowing people to put cash in. They're not allowing people to send crypto, and it's kind of bound up the flow of crypto in the market. It's a big deal. I don't know why they're doing it. They won't tell me why they're doing it. They just do it, and I think it's gonna collapse the whole thing.
Well, Binance did get in major scandal with the major liquidation event that happened this Saturday. They're wiping out all the leverage in the market. So yeah, they're doing some shenanigans. So you don't want to hold your money on the exchanges. Definitely want to keep that in self-custody if you can. Otherwise,
I can highly recommend a Ledger Nano S wallet. Link in the description. The cool thing is you buy one hardware wallet, you put everything in here, and you get $10 in free Bitcoin, and I get $10 in free Bitcoin. So that's a win-win.
Wow.
All right, guys, that is going to wrap it up. Thank you for coming on the show tonight. Appreciate each and every one of you that were in the audience, and great to be back with you guys. Brooks, I'm glad you're feeling better.
Oh, yeah.
I'll be back tomorrow morning with Jennifer Falah for Tell the Truth Wednesday, Toxically Masculine Tuesday, Tell the Truth Wednesday, followed by Whiskey and Wisdom with the original Mark Z. Everybody, peace out. Go Mariners. Let's win the World Series. Bye-bye.